Michelle Ricketts, bringing you your 3-day weekend lifestyle.
The future of work. Work is changing. The nature of work is changing as artificial intelligence and machine learning and these tools come out. In the past, and you know, Donald Trump's certainly been talking about the fact that manufacturing jobs have gone. He's promising to come back. I think that's unlikely because technology and the exponential growth of technology is changing everything. And this is extremely important from the standpoint of business because it changes the game. The game of the rules have changed. Mark Cuban, you guys know this guy, he's one of my heroes, a billionaire investor and tech dude. He says the nature of work is changing, nature of employment is going to change as well. And that's because now automation is taking hold. Companies like Tesla, for instance, their factory has no people in it and it's dark. And there's lots of factories like that. But now automation is being automated. So jobs like analysts and programmers and low-level programmers and stuff like that, those jobs are going to go as well. But there's a couple trends that I'd like to talk to you about that are really big, that are defining the nature of work. How many people in the audience are self-employed? That's a lot of you, so good. So you know this. The exponential growth in technology, specifically in online tools available at little or no cost, make it possible to create automated systems and infrastructure that generate recurring revenue for any business. And that's what you really want, recurring revenue. In other words, profits while you sleep. The thing is that everybody has those tools. Everybody has them. And this is a big aha moment I had a few years ago, and that's that I was chasing sales. I was going out to events and I was calling on people. I did Salesforce and I do my calls and all of that kind of stuff. And that works. It's just not very efficient. And now that there's all these tools to allow you to automate processes, I think Bill Gates said it, you want to automate as much as you can and leverage technology. So instead of chasing sales, what you really want to do is create an online business that attracts sales and attracts leads. And that whole process from the onboarding of an opt-in with an email to them giving you their credit card can be automated to about typically $1,500, $2,000. If you're a higher end person, maybe a Tony Robbins, you can automate the process to higher figures, 5,000 and such. But if you don't have a name brand, about 1,500 to 2,000 is typically how much it goes up. After that, you have to send them to a strategy call where you close them, because people don't tend to write checks for thousands of dollars unless they've talked to somebody. But most of that process, even at that case, the lead generation, all of that can be automated, and you want to automate that because then you're only talking to people that are sifted, sorted, and as Joe Pauls would say, pre-interested and predisposed to do business with you. Those are the people you want to talk to. They show up on your calendar and you know they've gone through your process. You know they're not tire kickers. You know you've sorted them out. You've attracted the ones you want. You've repelled the ones you don't. That's very important. And you want to do that as much as possible so that you can focus on your core competency, your brilliance, what you're really good at, the stuff that generates revenue. And you know, people say you don't want to be working in your business, you want to be working on your business. Everybody knows that, but how do you get there? That's the thing. So the tools are ubiquitous, easy to use, and free. Everybody has these tools. In fact, the second key thing, so technology, exponential growth of technology is the first trend. Second one is this. Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the most successful digital marketing guys, says it best, like it or not, every one of you is now a media company. What does that mean from the standpoint of how you market? Right? You need to be able to create content like a media company. In fact, social storytelling, telling your story through social media. Social storytelling is the new marketing. I can tell you that virtually, well, actually all the business I've got in the last couple of years have been on the internet, and all of my revenue streams are recurring, which means they don't need me. I sell on Amazon, we sell physical products, we sell through product launches. It's all online. You want to create as many recurring revenue streams as you can because they're automated and they're not as prone to the vagaries of clients saying yes or no. You can create steady streams of revenue. But it takes some work to do that, especially at the beginning. And there's a question of which programs do you use and how do you do that and all that kind of thing. But here's the thing. There will be 3 billion new internet users in the next 3 to 5 years. Currently, there's 1 billion. I didn't know that. I just thought, there's a lot more. Certainly penetration in North America is high, but other countries not as much. There's still only 1 billion people out of 7.5 billion on the internet. But in the next 3 to 5 years, there'll be 3 billion more. So you can start your online business now and they will be your potential customers because you've built your systems and your infrastructure. Or if you don't, they'll be your competition. And this is a fact, and this is absolutely clear. Yeah, the urgency is to create these systems now, because if you don't, then you're gonna have a competition, and you really don't want that. That's just not good for anyone. So there's 2 key strategies that we use. And I use Samurai Thinking. Digital Samurai is named that way for a very good reason. I'm a martial artist. I have 3 black belts, karate, sword, and weapons. And I took the martial thinking, which I'll talk about a bit more, and I applied it to technology. So the first strategy that to use is quite simply to think differently about technology. How many people see technology as a friend? Put up your hand. How many people see it as a foe? They hate it. They just know they have to use it. Kind of in the middle. Yeah, that's good. Honest there. That's good. Well, the thing is, you have a supercomputer in your pocket, right? Your smartphone has more power than Bill Clinton had as president of the United States in 15 years ago. You can answer any question. You can get any information you need, and it's an extremely powerful tool. The thing is, there's studies show that most people still use them mostly for calling and maybe text and perhaps email, and not much else. Typically, that's because the friction, what I call the pain in the ass factor, is too high. Digital Samurai is all about constantly refining the process and lowering the friction between you and the technology. But because that's really important, because I just have learned, and it's true, people simply will not use it. Doesn't matter how shiny and cool and powerful it is if it's too hard to do, especially you're not like me, a super tech nerd. This is my superpower. I can figure out technology and I see the patterns of how it all works together and integrates. I just see it. I mean, I don't know why. Everyone has their thing they're good at. That's mine. But I understand that most people, they don't see that, and it's very hard for them. And so that's a problem that I look to solve. IBM, this is the CEO of IBM, Jeannie Rothmidi. I think she's awesome. She's the first woman CEO of IBM, and she's really doing some great stuff. You guys heard of Watson, the AI computer that IBM built? So in the 90s, they built a computer, Deep Blue, and it beat Kasparov at chess, first time in the world. And that was pretty cool. But Watson, not only did it beat the guy at Jeopardy, which was cool because there's lots of unopened questions, chess has lots of moves, right? But the computer can calculate them all. But Watson beat the world's best Go player. Who's heard of Go? Go is a Chinese game. This is every time I say this fact, it just boggles my mind. There are more moves in Go than atoms in the universe. There are more moves in Go than atoms in the universe. Not stars, atoms. Atoms. Isn't that, I can't even get my head around that. And that shows the level of exponential growth of technology to allow this computer, this supercomputer, to beat the Go master. It was something else. But cognitive AI, which is what Watson is about, it can reason, it can make sense of things, even if it's not programmed, so it gets better and better. And this technology is being used right now. Some services that you might call in healthcare, they use Watson for it. Because as a business owner, as a CEO, as a teacher or anyone like that, you don't want answers given to you. You want more information. As president of the United States, you have the whole apparatus of the intelligence community. They can give you this information on which you can then make a better, more informed decision. That's what cognitive AI does, and you have that in your pocket with your computer, with your smartphone, because they use cognitive AI and they use machine learning. If you use your phone a lot and you're fully integrated into it, it gets better at knowing what you want. And this is a big deal. You want it to do that because it's a proactive way of looking at stuff. This is the difference of what's happening now with technology. It's not, you know, I want to find out how to get somewhere, so then it tells me. It's, if you hook up, for instance, either Siri or Google Now, or we use Google Now, with your calendar, so you hook up Google Now with your calendar with Google Maps, it will tell you not just how to get there, but it might tell you to, hey, you have to leave 10 minutes early because there's construction on the highway or there's a blockage here. So it's proactively giving you information like a virtual assistant would, telling you something you didn't know before you asked it. This is the start of what technology is capable of doing. So if you can integrate technology in that way into your business, then you can constantly on a daily basis make better decisions faster because you have more information, more relevant, targeted information. Because it's not that there's not enough information out there, right? It's that there's more, you have to sift through it. And that's what cognitive AI and machine learning helps you do. And the more you create systems that are integrated like that, the better off you are. And quite frankly, if you're not doing it, those other 3 billion people are. So it's a matter of competition. It's getting more competitive, and you got to do that because somebody else is going to if you don't. So samurai thinking really comes down to mindset. And I actually missed a slide. Let me go back here for a second. What I want to also say here is that IBM CEO says AI is really about man and machine. That's a really important point. That's the point I'm making here, because you have to like the technology. You have to think that it can help you, and you have to take some steps to meet it halfway, right? There's things that you can do to make it easier for your technology to be easier on you. And that's the kind of stuff we teach with Digital Samurai. But it really comes down to mindset. And samurai thinking is a big part of that. So this is a quote from Miyamoto Musashi. Musashi is the most famous Japanese samurai in history. He wrote the Book of Five Rings. Don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's a classic guide on strategy. It's a tough read, but you know, there's lots of cool gems in there about business and strategy, and this is one of them. The true value of martial arts is practicing them in a way that they will be of use at any time. I use martial arts all the time. I use it in daily practice. The focus, the discipline, the emotional control, those pieces, nothing to do with self-defense. I haven't had to defend myself in 20 years, right? But every day I use those parts of my martial training. And a CEO is often, or a business person, needs those similar skills to a samurai. If somebody says, how's business going? Oh, it sucks, I'm terrible. No, you don't want to say that, right? You don't want them to, oh, it's great. We're like, you know, it's the difference between Obama and Trump. You want to be Obama. Stay the course, steady. Like him or not, he was a controlled guy. He just had it, you know, he was like a samurai himself, right? So the teachings of the samurai are useful in daily life and technology. So you want to use it in a way that they will be useful in all things. And that's what we've done. So here's 3 mindset strategies that samurai practiced for 1,200 years. Shoshin means beginner mind. That basically means, are you coachable? Or are you too cool for school? But it really goes further than that in Digital Samurai, we take it much further than that. It's not just coachable. It's like, okay, I'm listening, impress me. No. If you buy into it, so my clients, I tell them this: you want to be able to look at the tactics that we use, because every tactic we use, we've looked at very specifically for very specific reasons. And you want to be able to see that there's a correlation between constantly refining your tactics and increasing revenues and profits. So in fact, every tactic that you do is a revenue unit, a profit unit. So really the only question you have to take is, are you coachable? Do you want to keep that profit unit, or do you want to throw that profit unit away? If using your technology in a certain way, right, helps you make more profit, well, are you going to learn to use that? That's what you do in martial arts. When you go into the dojo, there's a sensei, you do exactly what the sensei says, because you're learning how to punch or to kick, right? You don't come and say, well, I don't know, that doesn't work, I think we should try. No, you do it the way the sensei says. And there's merit in that. And it's the same here. If you follow the tactics that I talk about, then you will increase your efficiencies, and increasing efficiencies means you have more time to focus on the stuff that generates revenue. So increasing efficiencies are profit units, and it's as simple as that. Samurai thinking, so what does that mean? Well, constantly refining tactics to eliminate efficiencies until there are no more to remove. The samurai would always do. They wanted to make the best shortcut they could, or completely willing to abandon a strategy if it's not working. That's a big one that business people really have to do, because a lot of the strategies don't work. And if it doesn't work, get off it and do something else, and don't be invested in whatever it is you've done because you spent a whole bunch of money on it. How many people have spent money on courses and other things that didn't work? I have, thousands of dollars, right? Big business does it too. They just have a lot more to throw around. Remember Chrysler, Benz, or what was it? Daimler-Benz Chrysler? Billions of dollars down the drain. Having more relevant information is preferable to having less. That's a key one. Remember, you know what I say, relevant. So it's not that there's not enough information out there, right? There's lots. You want to have more relevant information sent to you, and your phone can help you with that. Technology can help you with that. Tools fail, often without warning, so we create redundancies. The samurai carried two swords. There's a number of reasons for that. But yeah, tools fail. So people go, oh, well, this didn't work. Well, I have 3 different ways to do pretty much everything, right? And use the best tool for the job. Are you listening, Apple people? I love Apple products. They're good. Apple products are really good. Here's what I say, Apple products are really good if you you're not a tech head, you don't care about it, you just want it to work really well, buy Apple stuff. But it just looks good and all of that. But there are disadvantages too. It's expensive, so you can outfit a team with a whole bunch of Chromebooks for the same price as one MacBook Air. So sometimes Apple makes sense and sometimes it doesn't. But don't be wedded to the technology, right? That's the best example of it, but it goes for anything. Use the best tool for the job. Make constant course corrections. That's a big thing. NASA, when they sent a rocket to the moon, it's off course 97% of the time. But they make constant course corrections so they can land that rocket on the moon within feet or maybe even inches of where it's supposed to go. In business, you have to make constant course corrections. Well, with your marketing, is it working? Well, now you can measure, evaluate, and optimize and see and make a course correction. Is your message getting across? Are you converting higher? Are your customers closing? What's your close rate? All of that stuff can be measured, and therefore you can make constant course corrections. And because of the technology tools that are out there, you can get feedback and interaction in real time from much of the stuff. Back in the day, you had to wait or a week to get feedback on a lot of things if you were doing a TV campaign, for instance. But now you don't. You can get instant feedback from Facebook, for instance. So the second variable, eliminate variables. This is a biggie. This is the core to actually what we do with Digital Samurai. United States military is a good example of this. The military is able to entrust teenagers to run complex, expensive systems over vast geographic areas around the world because they use highly structured systems. Everyone wears the same thing, right? Every Jeep looks the same. Every name badge is the same. Everyone follows the same protocols. It's a very strict process, which allows them to have teenagers running the systems and processes. Well, we adopted that same strategy with Digital Samurai. And I might say the same in martial arts. There's martial military strategy. It's the same thing, right? Now, research says there are 3 types of problems. There's a simple problem, a complicated problem, and a complex problem. Simple problem is baking a cake, following a recipe. A complicated problem is sending a rocket to the moon. And a complex problem is raising a child. So technology has typically been a complex problem. A complex problem is Formula doesn't work, right? You raise one child this way, it doesn't necessarily mean that the next child's going to turn out the same. You can have a child from a good family and they can still turn out bad, and vice versa. You cannot predict the outcome. There's a very high degree of uncertainty of outcome with a complex problem. But we took technology and we made it into a complicated problem by eliminating the variables. By that I mean, we use very specific tools in a very specific way. We only use one browser. We only use one of this and one of that. And that's because the user experience is paramount and far more important than a new feature here or there that you might get with a new app or a new thing. So we don't change apps and that kind of stuff hardly at all. That's noise. That's shiny object syndrome. And the user experience, unless it adds significantly to our user experience, we do not do it. But with a complicated problem, we have structures critical to that. So that's why we use these specific tools. We eliminate variables and don't use different stuff. We make constant course corrections, just like NASA, to make sure we're on course. And we provide clear and specific solutions and how to use them. And doing that means that we can provide a high degree of certainty of outcome. In other words, an elegant technology solution. Because using technology can, and I say should be, effortless. You should be able to go from one device to another, not think about it, not think about where things are. It should be useless, and it can be, and it is with Digital Samurai. Because it's all based on wisdom. There's no shortage of information out there, we all know that. There's no really any shortage of knowledge. There's lots of people who say they know stuff. But wisdom is a different thing. And I love this Lao Tzu quote, to attain knowledge, add things every day. To attain wisdom, remove things every day. Reminds me of a Mark Twain quote, which I like, which is, I didn't have time to write you a short letter, so I wrote you a long one. Right? Writing short copy and concise is much more difficult than long, which is why wisdom is more difficult than knowledge. Lots of people have knowledge, but wisdom is much more relevant and much lacking in today's solutions. But when we look at technology as an overall arc, and we put a solution together that works and is integrated together and works with all the pieces, and that's how you get to an elegant technology solution. One of my favorite lines is, the most efficient and elegant solutions emerge when there's nothing left to remove. When you refine and refine and refine, that is when you have an elegant solution. So what is an elegant solution? Well, not having to think about saving, or if you can undo something, not worrying about backing up or losing your data, not having to think about which device you're on, where you're at, or not having to think about if you're online or not. If you can just, I say to my friends sometimes, I've got, about 12 devices. I got 3, 4 computers, and I don't know, got 5 screens in here alone. I often pick which device I'm using based on proximity. If it's close to me, I'll pick it up. But you should have a smartphone, a tablet, a laptop, and a desktop. If you're in business and you're doing, you're doing some business, you're doing high 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, you should invest in technology, and you should invest in it every single year. You should get the smartphone every year, because investing in technology is the easiest and fastest way to increase efficiency and therefore revenue. Other way, getting new clients, harder. Getting more money out of your clients, harder. Every other way to increase profit is harder than buying new technology. Like the phone I have here, for instance, it has a fingerprint scanner on. If you don't have a fingerprint scanner on your phone, then you're at a disadvantage. It's simple, because you don't have as good a security, therefore you probably don't have as strong a password, therefore you're at more risk, right? It's an easy way of getting more efficient and increasing your efficiency is buying technology. So buy new technology every year. And you should have each one of those tools, because they're different tools. It's like having a hammer and a sledgehammer and a saw and a buzz saw. They're all good for different things. For instance, posting stuff is great on tablets. In fact, you can't post to Instagram on the desktop. You have to use a mobile device. And doing it on your phone is just a pain in the ass. It's too small. So a tablet's perfect for posting to Instagram or posting to Facebook or reviewing websites and stuff. Your phone in a pinch is great for looking at notifications and reviewing stuff, and you can read on it too. And in some cases where you don't want to pull out a big thing, it's great. But they're different tools. And since you can get a tablet for like $200-300, you should. I've got both a 7-inch and a 10-inch. I find the 7-inch, you probably can't see it, but I find the 7-inch one to be really good for reading, right? So that's one I recommend. But you should have all of the tools. And of course, a laptop you need if you're out and about and going around. So ideally, you should have all 4 of those devices: a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, and a smartphone, at least, if not more. Oh, and a Chromebook. So yeah, hardware. It's one of my pet peeves. Like, why the heck do you have that old bloody phone? You're at a real disadvantage if you do. So, oh, and the other thing, internet. Get the fastest internet available in your area. Get the fastest internet available in your area. Because productivity, I mean, I work with some clients and we're watching this thing go round and round and round, and I want to just pull my hair out, right? But people get used to it, like back pain. Don't get used to that kind of stuff, right? Don't. It's just robbing you. These are easy pockets to pull back your time and get back productivity. And that's another thing, you can get productivity back in little places when you're waiting for, I closed a sale walking from my house to my car share place, which was a 5-minute walk. I'd already been working with the person, but they answered while I was walking, and on my smartphone, I chatted with them and closed the sale, right? So, or on the subway. It used to be that, flying days were a big waste of time. Now they're a huge time to catch up with stuff, right? So take advantage of the time and do things. I love Einstein. He says awesome stuff like this. A clever person solves a problem, but a wise person avoids it altogether. By setting up this structure like we do at Digital Samurai, by limiting the variables, using specific tools in specific ways, my clients don't have very many problems. Digital Samurai has unlimited just-in-time training and support, unlimited. And, Michelle actually said to me at first, don't do that because people are, will ask for it all the time stuff. Well, what I found is if you have a system that's structured and set up and variables are eliminated, you don't have many problems. So I don't get that many calls, so I can offer unlimited support, right? You want to do that. You want to solve problems before they happen. You want to have redundancies built into your systems. You want to limit variables whenever possible, right? So unless that new app, sings Star Spangled Banner and cuts Julian fries, leave it alone, right? So we've created a system called the 3 pillars of prosperity. And there's only one formula for making more money in less time. And it's all about leverage and productivity. You can do it in different ways, but there's only one way to do it. You can create more time for yourself so you can do more stuff or hire more people or spend more money. But by leveraging technology and leveraging for productivity, you can increase revenues. Let me ask you this. How many people do you think you're a hard worker? Who's a hard worker? Yeah? So how many people are rich? Are you rich and wealthy? I'm not yet, but getting there. But my point is that productivity hard work doesn't necessarily make you rich, right? What you should be working on is doing less work and leveraging your time better, because then you're positioned to grow. And so that's why we created these 3 pillars in this way. Productivity is maximum results with the least amount of time. And leverage is maximum results with the least amount of effort. And that's what you want to ultimately work towards. And so these 3 pillars are important and in this way. For the first one, freedom, moving to the cloud. How many people are in the cloud so you can work from any browser anywhere? Good, a few people, that's good, right? So moving to the cloud is the first step because that gives you the freedom to change the way you work, to have 3-day weekends, to work in the park and do things differently. Then after that, the second pillar is technology and systems. So automating systems and processes. So creating an automated system for lead generation, for instance, or an automated system for sending out thank you letters to clients, which increases revenue. So automating as many systems as possible. I'm not talking about accounting and all that too, yeah, but I'm talking about marketing and sales systems, right? And follow-up and production and all these things. Automating as many of those as possible, particularly in closing sales. That's how you create systems that you don't need to be there for. And that is incredibly important because everyone says, yeah, I want more growth. I want more clients. But if you don't have automated systems in place and processes, you're just going to piss off those clients because you won't be able to service them well enough. You'll be running around like a chicken and being really busy, but not getting things done. So you want to make sure you have the systems in place to handle the growth before you then go do great growth. So the third pillar is growth, and there's multiple ways of doing that. And for us, they're all online. Doesn't matter whether your business is online or not. You can use digital marketing for your business. If you have a retail physical store, you can do that to bring people in and then talk to them after they are in. If you're a real estate agent, same thing. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, you can leverage technology to create systems to automate the processes you need to run your business and then create growth. And everyone can create growth in these different ways too. So opening an Amazon store for a physical product, you can do that. Or doing a knowledge product. Yeah, everyone has knowledge, so whatever you do, there's processes to take your knowledge, wrap it up in a system, and sell it for $500, $1,000, $2,000, right? Whatever that specific knowledge is. We do that, and there's very specific ways of doing it, both creation and marketing. Or creating a physical product launch, such as a supplement or a widget or something like that. That's complementary to your business. You could create a supplement product and a knowledge product to help people pick houses or something like that. If you're an expert or a teacher, you could create a product for learning that supports what you're doing. If you have a physical store, you could create your own line of products which you could sell in the store and online. So there's always ways to create products and services that complement what you're doing so that you go from having completely revenue that you're dependent on to recurring revenue that you make while you sleep. You want to start doing that, and everybody can do it. You say, oh, well, I do this, I can't do it. Yes, you can. You can create a knowledge product or a physical product or something that creates revenue while you sleep. And you should be doing that because, again, it's getting more competitive to do it otherwise. So the first pillar is moving to the cloud. And as I said, and it all starts with your browser. You can work from your browser, and the browser we use is Chrome. There are three pillars, as I just mentioned: freedom, systems, and growth. And within the moving to the cloud, there's four areas that you need to deal with. The first one's data management. There's lots of data out there, but we have systems and processes in place that make it so you can actually find what you want when you need it. Right? So we use programs like Dropbox and Drive, and we use file structures and nomenclatures that help you find your data. And that's really important because most people have a lot of trouble with that. Mobile integration is another one. You want to make sure that the stuff on your desktop is integrated with your smartphone and your tablet so that it's always up to date. And you don't have to think about, oh, did I download that file to this phone? When they're integrated, you don't have to think about that, right? So you can go out to your presentation with your tablet and you can show somebody a document on there or a proposal or something, and not have to think about, oh, did I download that? That's what you want. Privacy and security is a big one. A lot of people have lax security because it's hard. Humans are terrible at remembering passwords. So we use LastPass. How many people use LastPass? Anyone? RoboForm? Okay, well, that's one thing that we'll definitely do. I have a micro training on that. I can send you guys a video that talks about how to do it. But basically, you want to use a password management program that generates the passwords for you in strong passwords that have letters, cases, numbers, and symbols, and 9 or 12 digits. Humans will never remember those, but you don't have to. You just have to remember the password to LastPass, which we make a strong password with 12 digits. And what I counsel people to do is create that with LastPass, then use it also for your computer's password. So you have a strong password for your computer. Now, it'll take you a week to remember that with letters, cases, numbers, and symbols, but I simply write it on a card and treat that card like a $100 bill until you remember it, then throw away the card, or you can destroy it or eat it or something. But that's what you should do. Have a password that's for LastPass, that's very, very hard, that really you'll remember after a week, like F/2 small t, that kind of a thing. right? But after you've done it a few times, you'll remember, right? But that's what I'm saying, where it's human and machine. You have to come to the machine as well. Machine will handle that. You only have to remember one little password, right? So that's what I'm talking about. You have to discipline yourself to a degree. I had one lady say, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't use a password on my laptop. I just work at home. And I said, well, your business is wrapped up in your laptop. What would happen if somebody got a hold of that? As unlikely as that may be, it's an unacceptable risk to leave your computer unprotected, because the consequences of doing it are so dire, and the prevention is so easy. So from a business risk standpoint, it's an unacceptable risk to do that. So go home and put a strong password on your laptop. And if you leave it for more than 5 minutes, like you go to the store, lock your computer. I do that every single time. Lock your computer. Because if you value your business is worth $100,000. Would you leave $100,000 sitting on your kitchen table? No, right? You put in. So why would you do that with your computer? Value your IP, your intellectual property. Lock your computer. So again, Michelle can do, but I do have a training for this. It's really easy to do once it's set up. So LastPass will remember all the passwords for everything, and you just remember the one. So security is super important. You also want to have it on your phone, which is why you want to have a phone with a fingerprint ID, because it's better than password 123, right? And so you've got a very secure phone if you have a fingerprint scanner. So that's a really good thing to do. Business communications is another big area that we work on. And what I mean by that is interacting with your team, there's a number of different tools to use. There's 3 tools which a lot of people still use, which you shouldn't be using. Can you guess what they are? Text messaging, email, and faxes. Those are 3 antiquated technologies, and I'll add PDFs in there. There's 4 antiquated technologies which you shouldn't use and you don't need to use. Text messaging, for instance, is unreliable, doesn't work well between Androids and Apples, and doesn't have authentication. It's not secure, it's not encrypted, and it doesn't have confirmation that you got it. WhatsApp is a fantastic replacement for that. I don't know how many people use WhatsApp or have heard of it. Yeah, great. So you should encourage your friends to use it, and you should insist that your team members use it, because it has encryption and end-to-end and send data well and has confirmation when the message gets there, right? So there's just no reason to use text messaging. Email, super inefficient, linear. And you get stuck in those email threads where everyone's replying to all, like, let me out, right? Emails, once you implement these other tools, like in my team, we never use email. Who uses Slack? You heard of Slack? Yeah, Slack is a tool basically to replace email, but basically what it is, it's a platform for Teams communication. So it has a text messaging piece built in, so you can text people and ask them questions, but it's also got a whole bunch of plugins, about 500 integrate, so that stuff, it's got plugins you can integrate so that you can bring stuff into Slack and not have to go out and look at it. So for instance, someone says, what do you think about this? Slack's a fantastic tool. The Mars project people used it for the Mars mission. This guy tell you something, right? So you can do plugins for Dropbox and Drive and 500 other things, so that when you say, hey, take a look at this PDF, it shows it right in Slack. You don't have to go out. Or what do you think about this document? So it shows it right in Slack. And it has tools for managing, pinning them, finding things. So it's got all these tools around allowing you to manage information, discuss it all in one place, and target it. So you can have a Slack channel for the tech guys and the market guys, and you can thin slice the channels as much as you want. So you don't have to be listening to stuff that is not relevant to you, and you can turn off the stuff you want, right? So it has the notifications and all that for messaging stuff, but its real key thing is the platform allows you to look at everything within Slack, and therefore you don't have to go out to get it. Whereas email, you send attachments, but a week from now you can't find the damn attachment because you have to scroll back in your email. It's a linear system, right? Not very good. So WhatsApp for texting, Slack for email. We use Best Tool for the Job, I mentioned that. Hangouts is great because we're part of the Google Suite, and it's part of the Google Suite, and it's on all systems and it updates in real time across all your devices. That's very useful. So I can be chatting here on my computer, and then I have to get up and go and do something. I don't have to say, wait, I have to finish this. No, I can continue the chat on Hangouts because it will have exactly what I was typing. So that seamless solution where it doesn't matter which device you're on, it will have that information. Now, Hangouts does video calling like this, but it sucks. So we don't use it for that. We use only the best tool for the job. We use Zoom for that. Zoom is much better at video conferencing calls. However, Zoom has chat, and Zoom's chat sucks. So we don't use Zoom's chat, right? So in fact, when I'm working with somebody, I'll be in Zoom, but I'll be sharing links and other things to Hangouts because, again, it's on all devices across everything, and it's integrating with mail. So again, using the best tool. WhatsApp, Slack, Zoom, and Hangouts. Very good tools. You'll never have to use those other nasty ones again unless some wanker sends you an email. The four pillars that we use under moving to the cloud: data management, mobile integration, privacy and security, and business communications. And we use them through G Suite, which used to be called Google Apps for Work. How many people use G Suite? Okay, good, yeah. Now the big thing about G Suite is $5 per user per month. So if you got you and your assistants, $10. There's an upgrade to the pro version for $10 a month. But suffice to say, that's a very inexpensive thing. And what you get with that is enterprise level support and Google support. Even if you don't have to call Google once in a while, it's really nice to be able to call them when you have a complicated problem. In fact, what we do in Digital Samurai is if it's a problem that I can't solve or something that I shouldn't solve. So for instance, when we're doing domain stuff and setting up stuff or transferring from Outlook, I refer them to Google because Google has an entire team dedicated to that. So why the heck would I do it, right? Best tool for the job, right? So we want to solve the problem, and the best one for that is Google. So having that Google support is fantastic. But the other key thing about Google Suite is the integration. Nobody else has this level of integration. Nobody. Not Apple, not IBM, not Microsoft, nobody. And by that, the key things include calendar and docs and search and mobile with Android, maps. And not only that, but they have best in class in a lot of those areas, right? They have arguably the best search, arguably the best maps, calendar. So when you integrate all that together, it's the integration of it, particularly the three I mentioned, calendar, maps, and Google Now, which is their AI system, that allows you to have this proactive ability to send stuff to you. When you sign, who uses Chrome browser? Chrome browser, I strongly recommend you use Chrome, but not just use it, you need to sign into Chrome with your G Suite account. So not just enough to use it, you have to go into settings and sign into Chrome. If you're not doing that yet, absolutely do it. That's because when you do that, then Google can start amassing a database of relevant information. Now, some people might say, oh, I don't want them to know all that stuff about me. Well, all I say to that is, again, it's weighing these two things out. The chances of somebody breaking into Google and stealing your stuff, or a Google employee looking at your stuff, are extremely slim. But if you have your laptop there and everything's on there and Outlook and all that, the chances of that happening with your laptop are far, far higher, right? So I just don't even care about that. Google, it's not in their interest to do that, and that there's lots of other things to worry about in this world. I'm not going to worry about Google breaking into my stuff. It's a good idea to let them gather this information, because one, it's anonymous, and two, as it does that, it gets eerily smart at guessing what you want, whether it's where you want to go, so that if you're typing in maps, you just have to type one letter because it's the place you went to last week, and it knows where you want to go, right? And that happens in everything you do. So you get more efficient at finding information. And therefore, there's a thing I say with my friends, we're talking and we say, question. And if we say that's a Google question, that means instead of saying, well, what's the population of this thing? Do you think it's worth us going out there to do some business? Well, instead of guessing, you can ask Google now. When your systems are set up to do that, and it's easy to integrate technology into your conversations, and you're used to doing it, then it makes your ability to answer questions better. It makes your ability to get at the information you need easier. And so signing into Google, letting Google amass this stuff makes it easier. So for instance, using Chrome on a regular basis, if you sign into Chrome, then you don't need to use bookmarks. I haven't used bookmark in years because Chrome knows where I want to go because it has either the 8 tabs that are your most recently used ones, or if you, the omnibar, if you just start typing the first couple letters, it'll know. So it gets to the point you just don't have to use bookmarks or search for websites you need to go to because Chrome is proactively pushing them to you because it knows the history. That's of tremendous value to you. And so you want to do, and it does that with all of the pieces. It does it with calendar and maps and resolve stuff as you're typing it in calendar. Sometimes when I'm typing on my mobile phone with, especially if it's a sentence I've said a lot, when you want to get together, that kind of stuff, it'll guess the words that I'm doing for the entire sentence. So I don't have to type anything. I just put down the words. And you see that this is the machine learning. It gets better and better at guessing where you want to go, what you want to search for, which website you're going to, which proposal you're looking for, because it has the recent items in Derive. So the payoff for signing into Chrome and using the whole Google suite as a suite is extremely powerful for you as a user relative to using disparate tools on different platforms. Now, you know, I started Digital Samurai a while ago working with clients, and we'll set them up and move to the cloud and your freedom. What I found was they often don't do anything. They stay exactly where they are in front of their desk. Like this horse. I used to have a horse, and you know, horses will do that. You can tie a horse to that chair. Now the horse could move if it wanted to, but it doesn't know it could move. Kind of like this lady. So in this new world where you can work from anywhere, this is where I feel the nature of work is changing. What does it mean to work? If you can go and work at the cottage every day, or you can go out on an outing because you can work in the car. And when you have revenue streams that are recurring and automated, there's 2 things that are important to that. One, that you can do that work anywhere. So I have an Amazon store. I can do my Amazon work anytime I want and from anywhere I want, right? So if someone says, hey, do you want to go to a movie? Sure. I guess I should finish my seminar first. But yeah, you can be spontaneous. You know, I was working with this one lady, she's a writer, and she's sitting at her desk. I said, go to a coffee shop and do something, right? This really gets down to the fundamental thing. What do you want your life to look like? You can fashion your life any way you want, right? You could work on the beach or from the mountains if there's Wi-Fi or cellular. You can work anywhere. And it's not just about working anywhere. It's about when you do the work. So it doesn't have to be this structured 8 hours. It could be 2 hours now, and then you want to take a break because there's this film festival on, or your kid's at a game. So you can refashion your work and your life. So you can fashion your life, your work around your life, not your life around your work. And that's the result of creating the structured systems, automated processes, and using this integrated Google Suite system that allows you to get work done on any device, anytime, anywhere. And the more of these revenue streams you create that are automated, again, you can do that work at any time. To me, that's the ultimate, that's what I have. That's why I love my life. It's awesome. Right? So you can design your ideal life. You know, Jim Rohn quotes, we all have 2 choices. We can make a living or we can design a life. You can do that now because the technology is there to do it. And so go do it. I can talk about a couple tools that we use. This is one of the key ones. Who uses Google Keep? Anybody? Yeah, it's a fantastic tool. It's what we use for what I call short-term information management. In fact, I speak of it like it's the staging area for your information. Why? Because the friction level, remember the pain in the ass level for entering information in Google Keep is extremely low. It's really easy to record information, an idea, a voice note, a picture. So you're out and about and you're shopping and say, oh, this would be a great present for someone. Instead of just taking a picture with your camera, you take a picture in Google Keep and then you can put some notes with it. Or you can take a picture of a sign and then you can rip the text out of it and put notes with it. So Google Keep is the staging area for all the information coming into your experience because you can put it on all your devices and it synchronizes in real time on all your devices. And it's got the best search algorithms I've ever seen. You start typing any word and it'll come up find anything that you had with that word. So it's easy to retrieve things. And it has limited variables. There's 8 that uses colors, but there's only 8 of them, and you can't change it, which is a good thing, right? Google understands that. They designed it extremely well for just what it's for capturing ideas and information. Often I'll make a list, like a to-do list or a shopping list or something like that, and start it there, or a list of tactics I want to do for proposal. Because when you think of stuff and ideas, it's an organic process, right? It's not, you don't sit down, okay, now I'm going to be creative. No, right? You're creative as you're walking down the street, as you're sitting in bed, so you have to have a system that makes it easy for you to capture those ideas and information. That's paramount importance to Digital Samurai. If it's not easy for you to do, again, elegant, you won't do it. So we use this tool for that process, and we don't use anything else, right? So we don't put notes in Outlook or notes over here, notes over there. We just use Google Keep. So I highly recommend it's part of the Google account. So if you have a Google account, you already have it. So I highly recommend you give it a try. Here's what it looks like, right? So you can see the first arrow I have here, this Father's Day picture. I think that was on the subway. I took it because I wanted to go to that event. And then I put the notes down below it. Here's a big note, this yellow one. So you have something like pick up milk or deliver that thing. That's like an actual Post-it you might have on your monitor. So if it's not too many letters, it puts it in big, which I find very useful. Over on the right there, I've got my Instagram posts. So when I'm thinking of Instagram or Facebook posts, I put them there first, and then I can just copy and paste it into my social media stuff. So there's all types of ways that you can see I'm using color, I'm using banners and different things. 2 of the key ones I use is contacts and general links. So that means I have my address, my phone number, links to my YouTube and all of that. So if someone asks you to text message you something, hey, send me your link to that. Well, right? You don't have to say, oh, I have to wait till I get back to the office. You have it right there. You long press, copy, go to the thing and send it to them. Again, you've now shortened that response time. So Keep is great for all these kinds of stuff. It also has reminders. So you can have it set up a reminder to come up, and it'll come up in your notification bar. And it's available on the iPhone and the Android, by the way. And again, it synchronizes to the desktop one. When I'm doing lists, I'll do it on the desktop. But when I'm thinking of stuff I want to do for a project or a webinar, that I might do when I'm out and about or wherever. So that's what Keep looks like. The right side here is my tablet, by the way, and the phone just looks a bit smaller, but that's basically what it looks like. So these are 3 of the main tools we use, Dropbox and Google Drive. We use both of them because they both have advantages for our cloud storage. I won't get into much of that right now, but those are the 2 key ones we use. Of course, Drive comes with Google. And so essentially, for stuff that originates on the computer, I use Dropbox. And for stuff that originates in the cloud in Drive, such as the docs and sheets, I use Drive. Because Dropbox saves stuff to your hard drive, then uploads it to the cloud, and Drive saves stuff to the cloud and downloads it to your hard drive. So it has advantages in that way. I mentioned LastPass. Again, if you go to the link that Michelle will tell you about, then you can get the training on that if you message me. But that's what I mean by a strong password. And that's what you want to create with your LastPass accounts. And you only need to remember 1 of them. I talked about Slack already, and WhatsApp, and Zoom. So these are some of the tools that we use. And so our core services, we have 2. The Katana Digital Roadmap is our first one. And the first one, the Katana Digital Roadmap is all about moving to the cloud. So it has micro-training, and our micro-training is specifically targeted training specific to what you need to do. So you don't have to watch hours of video to learn the stuff that we do. We have highly targeted training. The video in this one, for instance, is 4 minutes long. And then we have various ways of showing you how to do stuff, depending on what it is. So for instance, if you're asking a question like why, well, that's best done with video or audio. But if you want to know how to set something up, well, then we have screen captures with arrows like you just saw. Because in a video, it sucks to do it with video because you have to pause the video and then go do it and then rewind. No, it's terrible. Right? So we designed our micro-training specifically to make it easier for you to learn faster. And this We have a base micro-training system, which is $97. And it's a do-it-yourself one, so you can do the micro-training yourself and set it all up. And then the next one we have, this is a great deal. I just put this package together, so we're just rolling this out. So we set up your Chrome system, your G Suite system, your customization, all your stuff, and you get a Chromebook. So you get a laptop and all the setup stuff and your G Suite set up for $497. So now after that, we have higher end packages if you want systems and help with it. So for instance, my main package is $2,000, and that we actually do one-on-one training with you. So it's not just setting it up, we teach you how to use it all. Because that's where the real value comes in, is when you learn how to actually use all these tools that we create. And then the second program we have is called Profit Generator Blueprint. So as I said, first you have to do all the system stuff. It's what we call the boot camp. And what I found is it's kind of like going to the dentist. People don't really like to do all that stuff, but they really need to do it. But what I find when people do get their data management in order and their cloud stuff based and all of that, then they love it because they can work anywhere and they don't have to worry about devices. And they don't, one of the people will come to me when their computer blows up, right? And then they have to do something. Don't wait till your computer blows up. But the Profit Generator Blueprint is all about creating new revenue streams. Once you've got those systems in place, the technology in place, now we're going to help you create a Amazon store or a direct response marketing product or a physical product or a knowledge product. And we're going to help you create it and market it, and it'll be based on whatever your skills and skill set is. And those programs, they start at $2,000 and then they go up to $25,000 if it's a done for you program. So we do it all the work. That includes sales funnels, all the pieces that you need, we do. And basically, I look at myself as a orchestra conductor. Right? There's lots of firms out there that say, we'll do a sales funnel for you. But a lot of the time, they may be really good at one part of it, but they're not good at the other part. I'm not good at all these parts. What I am really good at is putting them all together and seeing how all the pieces interact. So I have one of the top funnel guys in the world that I work with to create sales funnels. You want to make sure that you have all the pieces in place and you're able to get all the pieces that you need, from sales to marketing to technology. And it's not just one, all of them are important, right? So this is the gift that I'm going to give. It looks like, actually, I'm going to bring it over for a second. This is what our micro-training looks like. It's based on the Google products. So this is actually Google Sites, so their website builder. Okay, so it starts with a video. Remember the why. Here's why you need to move to the cloud. And then we have, so you can scan this code. In some cases, it's easier to follow the training on a mobile device and then execute it on your computer. So the first module here is setting up Chrome browser. So if I click on that, it's going to go to the micro-training for that. And again, it starts with the video telling you why you want to do that. And then go to the next one. And this is what the training looks like. So here are the action steps. So you have to install there's the link to it. Then you open Chrome. So you click on that. You click on the task when it's done. And this is what I was saying. So for telling you which thing to do, screen captures with arrows pointing to it is the best way to do it. You don't need to know why necessarily you have to do all this stuff. I've explained the sky level reason for using it. And so again, you don't need an hour-long video explaining all this stuff. Now, if you want to know that, you can click into the button and go and find that out. Depends on what kind of learner you're at. But if you just want to get it done and do it and you don't care about all that stuff, then this is perfect for you. So this is a new process that I've created called micro-training. And it's targeted training. So if a client comes back and says, I want to know how to set up my Gmail, or I want to know how to create filters and labels in Gmail, I have a micro-training for that. I want to know how to set up LastPass. I have a micro-training for that. So this kind of targeted training, as opposed to hours and hours and hours of video that you have to watch, that's the way we do our process, and it makes it a lot easier and faster to get to what you want to. Right? So same here, this continues on, and then you have the next part. So that's what a micro-training looks like. That's what I'm going to send you guys. There's also a link for an opt-in. So if you want to find out more information, you can go to the site and look at the opt-in. You can put your name and email in and get information, and I'll send it to you. Okay? Thanks, Michelle.
Welcome. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you.